Now, you mentioned Ben White and him inverting and the fact that Arteta did something different with the makeup of the back four and the build-up. I think this is crucial. I think this is a huge part as to why we won. Now, when we were live on the Starting 11 show, and listen, I understand, right? We all come, we give our opinions, and some people agree, disagree, and if you're wrong, people come and go, oh, what you can play about now. So I, along with some others on the panel, had real fears about the 11 that went out. We then end up finding out that Jorginho being on the bench wasn't tactical, he wasn't fit to play, and a few other players were missing. Tomiyasu wasn't available. So to a degree, Arteta's hand was forced to a point. But that doesn't mean that the way he approached the game tactically was forced, and that's what was fascinating. Let me tell you what I expected to happen in this game, because we saw it against Fulham. So, Trossard's leading the line. Now, it was Eddie Nketiah against Fulham, important to remember that. I thought the shape was going to look like this. Ødegaard and Havertz in the pockets, your wingers holding the touchline, and Kivior moving inside. And it was very uncomfortable. So you have the back three in the build-up shape. You guys are no strangers to this. We have talked about this 1,000 times on this show. But he flipped it. He actually said, Kivior, you looked uncomfortable there. It's not your natural position. I actually trust Gabriel and Saliba to shift more than I trust Kivior to come inside and become a playmaker. So that's what happened. Rice moves over. He got Ben White, who is excellent on the ball, one of the best ball-playing defenders in the league. And he asked Gabriel, Saliba and Kivior to mix up. It gave Gabriel a really good battle with Jared Bowen that I thought he did really, really well in. Now, why is this really important to know? Well, let me show you some graphics first. We've got here the White's touch map. You know, again, lots of sort of, touches in very central areas. We've also got his pass map from the first half. 37 out of 38 passes were completed. Now, this is just to give you an oversight of sort of, a lot of the areas of the pitch he was playing in. But I've got here what I've called Arsenal's connectors. Now, when Arsenal play, often to progress up the pitch, for certain players, you mentioned it, Jesus, Zinchenko, they're really good ball progressors. Granit Xhaka was one as well. When we had Kivior and Havertz, it was very uncomfortable trying to watch Kivior in this inverted area, trying to progress to Havertz or into Eddie Nketiah in that game against Fulham. We couldn't do it. We couldn't play through them. We looked so unnatural. In this game, the focus was play through Ben White, play through Ødegaard, and if Ben White does go wide, like you said, Ødegaard dropped in there. So he had much better natural progresses through the pitch, and you see that in the numbers, and we've got it here. Versus Fulham, what I've got, and versus West Ham, I've got them side by side, these numbers. I've got progressive passes from the inverted wing back, so that is Kivior and Havertz, the number 8 there. And of course, when I'm comparing it to West Ham, I'm talking about White and Ødegaard. 14 progressive passes against Fulham across that dynamic of the team. Against West Ham, it went up to 29. Passes to the final third, 7 against Fulham in the 2-1 defeat, 11 against West Ham. And from those same players, the progressive passing distance was almost double, 369 yards, or it was more, I can't do maths. 770 yards was the progression is more. Anyway, significantly better numbers in terms of the way we progressed by having White and Ødegaard be the focal point of that team, so Havertz could get a little bit closer to the striker, move forward. We weren't relying on Kivior to do it. But we've also got this. Passes received from the striker in this game was Trossard, not Eddie Nketiah. You can see he received 44 passes against West Ham compared to Eddie Nketiah's 15 against Fulham, and he had 8 touches in the penalty area compared to Eddie Nketiah's 2. So the dynamics to switch it and go, yeah, I agree, Kivior into Havertz, it didn't work. But by flipping it, making Ødegaard and White have to take on that responsibility, it gave Arsenal so much more running up the pitch. And this graphic from Mark R Stats showing Arsenal's shape and their connectivity from minute 1 to 74 shows you everything. Look at Ben White's position and look at the thickness of those arrows and the combinations between number 41, number 2, number 4 and number 8. It's all about this side of the pitch working so well, Graham.
We've talked about on this show before about putting people in the positions where they are strongest to suit their skill sets. Now, Ben White, when he was at Leeds, played in this sort of midfield role. Now, what I like about this is that, first of all, for Ben White, and he was excellent yesterday. He was excellent last week as well, and he seems to be coming back into some sort of form. Is I think what he's good is he's very good at passing. He's very good at sort of like knocking in a long pass. He's very good at appreciating space and able to sort of receive the ball comfortably and play the ball. That is his skill set. Now, I think that sometimes when he's out wide, his weakness is in the 1v1 duels out wide. And I think by pushing him inside and moving Saliba across and then moving Gabriel across, I think you're playing more to Ben White's skill set. So he's very comfortable in this position, and I think that suits him to play there. And I think it also suits the back three. You know, if you think about it, Saliba pushes across. Gabriel, who scored his 14th goal in his 150th appearance for Arsenal yesterday, is now being trusted to play out through the centre of the pitch.
Yeah.
And his passing has improved over the course of the season. And Kivor is very good.
He was very comfortable, Kivor. I liked him.
Yeah, and I thought he was excellent. So what you've got is to take care of West Ham's strengths, or their strengths on the ball. You've got our best off the ball players against their strength on that side, and then you've got our best on the ball players on the right hand side against their weak side, which is their left hand side. So I thought Arteta did it really well yesterday. He recognised where West Ham's weakness was, which was Emerson's side. He recognised where West Ham's strengths were, so he set us up in a way to deal off the ball with their best on the ball players and use our best on the ball players against their weak off the ball players. I thought it was tactically well done by him, and I thought Ben White was instrumental to everything. As we said, I said in the Fulham, in the video we did after the Fulham game on Tactical Insight, you know, that for me was the obvious solution to move him, invert him rather than Kivor.
You did say it, yeah.
And I did say that after that game. If you go back and watch that Tactical Insight show with Fulham, I did say that, and he did it yesterday, and it worked absolutely. It worked to a T, didn't it? And
it raised our levels.
It raised our levels, and also the understanding with Odegaard. You know, Odegaard and White was absolutely phenomenal yesterday, and that allowed Saka then to make these runs. And what we also saw then was White occasionally, when Odegaard dropped, joining Saka up wide. So there's our 5 lanes, and you've got a fullback up high, and Saka coming inside, sort of inside more. Trossard, Havertz, and Martinelli there, and then occasionally you even saw William Saliba, which I haven't seen before. My son says to me that when he played for Marseille, he was always like the marauding fullback up high. So if White dropped back, you even had Saliba going high. This is how fluid Arsenal were yesterday. But I thought this right-hand side with Saliba, White, Odegaard and Saka was what ripped West Ham apart yesterday.
I completely agree. And we see that in the 5th goal. We see it in lots of the goals. But in particular with this 5th goal, because as much as he inverted, this is what we talk about, tactical fluidity, asking different questions. Now, I'm really not trying to do the whole "I told you so" thing, although I think I've said that line a few times recently. But my point is, when we ask Arsenal just to try different things, I'm not saying that go buy £300 million worth of players. I'll just be better. We're saying there are things you can do in the 90 to just ask different questions. And West Ham were one of the teams that we struggled to break down, and then we lost to Fulham. And you're like, why are we not trying different things? Why is it always get the ball out wide to Saka and hope he does something? Arsenal have thrown different questions at teams, especially more recently, but certainly in this game. So while White inverted, you're right to mention overlapping, because in this situation, they actually did a little bit of analysis. I think it was on Sky Match there, I can't remember. But essentially, Emerson is having to keep an eye on Ben White because he's overlapped. White doesn't get the ball. White never looks like he's going to get the ball in this move. But because he's holding that position out wide, Saka's able to pick up that pocket, and then they're on the back foot, West Ham, and he cuts inside, and it's a really, really brilliant goal. But that position that Ben White takes up is really important. I'm actually going to slow it down one more time. Let's take it to a quarter speed. Because Odegaard just here, he flicks. It's really clever from Odegaard. And Saka just sort of lets it roll past him into the area and inside. But it's the reason Emerson can't block that pass in Saka is because Ben White's there as well. And I just think that sort of fluidity, seeing Saka do well out wide, seeing him in more central spaces, seeing White invert, back, but go the other way as well. So I've been saying about Zinchenko when he's inverting is, can he go on the outside sometimes when we need? And we saw our inverted fullback in this game, Ben White, actually do something a little bit different. And comparing him to Zinchenko, I just wanted to see, and I've got to be honest, I don't really think it proves anything, but I'll show you the numbers as I did the research anyway. I wanted to show everyone how Ben White's numbers compared to Zinchenko and his average this season. So Ben White from this game. So against West Ham, he had a pass completion rate of 93%. Zinchenko averages 88% for the season. He has 77 touches. Zinchenko averages 92.
Wow.
He had 8 progressive passes, Ben White. Zinchenko averages 12 for the season. His progressive passing distance is 257 yards in this game, Ben White. Zinchenko averages 371, and he had 3 passes into the penalty area, Ben White, in this game. Zinchenko averages 2.5. So, is he the new Zinchenko? Listen, I think those numbers are really good, but it's also to just say fair play, isn't he? Those numbers are actually really good, and it makes you realise how brilliant he is. We're waxing lyrical about White in this performance, but Zinny still is top when it comes to inverting and progressing us up the pitch. I thought White, though, did a fabulous job, and this was very inspired by Mikel Arteta.
And I just want to say a really big thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, actually hit the links right here to watch more content like this, including my Football First podcast, which drops every Monday to Friday at 6 AM. And I know it's annoying, I am really sorry to have to ask, but if you want to show support to the channel, hitting the like and subscribe buttons help promote the content much more than you could possibly know. Thanks again.